Hello YouTube, I'm back again with another video. This time I'm going to be doing a Rakdos deck, but it's introducing Daemogoth Titan and a burn strategy. So this is actually a deck that I'm playing in real life. I'm replacing my Grixis beatdown deck for this one because I feel like the format has really shifted, and now I'm kind of forced in a position where I have to play a burn strategy where because I feel like playing blue, red, and black, it's nice if you're playing outside of modern, but I feel like if you're playing more than two colors, it'll hinder the deck. And of course, we're going to still keep our fetch lands, but the whole strategy is basically main this guy 4 copies, even though he's heavily a brick, but you want to use him to end the game a little bit sooner, whether it be on one turn, where you want to find the key cards to have his power be able to deal damage, whether it be by attack or whether it be by using an instant in order to inflict that much damage either to the player or creature. But starting off, obviously, we're playing Daemogoth Titan, requires 4 black or possibly 4 green. You have a choice whether you use 4 black or 4 green. But whenever he attacks or blocks, you have to sacrifice a creature. One of the cards will definitely come into play, which I'm going to reveal to you guys later. But yeah, sacrificing a creature does make this card seem like a complete hindrance. But for what it's worth, since you're starting with 20 life, that's essentially he can essentially deal damage equal to half the opponent's life, which is definitely, even though you have to sacrifice a creature, there are cards that die that either can come back, or on top of that, you can just like gain more benefit, where the creature can help power up your card, or you again constantly revive it, draw a card, whatever, or blow up something, whatever means that card has that you can benefit from sacrificing. So it all depends on the cards you're playing, but you'll see why after. So obviously, as for now, we're just playing the one black drop Falmar Knight. He's there simply because he has Death Touch and he has Profane Insight. It was Instant Adventure. He's mainly there just because I want to draw a card, even though you potentially lose 1 life. But for what it's worth, sometimes that draw can help you get into um, your potential like basically win condition. It helps you meet your win condition, and it helps you meet the requirements in order to get you proper setup. So Gifted Aetherborn pretty much almost does the same thing like as Found Knight because he has Death Touch, but he requires 2 black. He has Lifelink as well. And helps because I feel like a lot of times we're paying a lot of life, whether it be like from our spells or our lands. But he will come in handy because if I feel like I'm about to lose or I'm out of life, I always want to make sure I gain as much life as possible. So that way I don't end up losing the next turn. So and the key like prize factor for this deck, for Daemogoth Titan, which you benefit from, which definitely has synergy, is the Rekindling Phoenix. Requires 2 colors mana, 2 red. It's a creature and a phoenix, obviously. Has flying. When Rekindling Phoenix dies, you create a 0/1 red elemental creature token with at the beginning of your upkeep. Sacrifice this creature and return target card named Rekindling Phoenix from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste until end of turn. And the reason, obviously, as you can tell, this is like a surprise factor for Daemogoth. He again has synergy, helps Daemogoth constantly attack, or whether it be able to block. So basically, because anytime when you sacrifice a creature, you're essentially killing a creature, which means that creature has died when you sacrifice a creature. And on top of that, when Rekindling Phoenix dies, whenever she dies, you get a red elemental creature token, and you get to sacrifice the elemental creature token to revive the Rekindling Phoenix. On top of that, Rekindling Phoenix gets haste the turn it is summoned that way. So you are benefiting by having a 4/3 Phoenix that just revives us constantly, regardless how it dies. As long as it dies, you're good. But at the same time, it's like it has to enter from the graveyard to the battlefield in order for you to benefit. But so it has to say that whether the card dies for you to actually use Phoenix Effect. And because since Daemogoth is pretty much sacrificing creature, you constantly get to use Phoenix's effect over and over. So it's like, not only is it giving you added protection, because Daemogoth 10 can block by attributing the tapped Phoenix, but you'll always have it on field regardless. So normally, yes, in order for you to play Daemogoth, you always have to have at least one Rekindling Phoenix on field. But sometimes there's going to be another card that'll help you be able to benefit having Titan on the field, and as to why he is the major factor in this deck. And the reason why I like Titan because he's also an easy side deck. He's also an easy side out whenever I go into game 2 or 3. Since I've been talking too much now, so we're gonna go into our last one drop, which is our red Vexing Devil. So some people may confuse as to why. Some people think it doesn't really serve any purpose deck, but in my case it does because like I apologize. It can kind of catch your opponent off guard because of course, by sacrificing it, it deals 4 to them, but at the same time, it ensures that like I don't have a monster on board. But the whole point, as you can tell, is a burn deck. You want to make sure they either sacrifice it. I would rather they sacrifice it so that you can you're so that you can get reach a game clinch. So what I mean, so you can have the opportunity to kill your opponent a lot more easier. So you'll be able to kill your opponent a lot. Sorry, I apologize. You'll be able to kill your opponent a lot more easily if they sacrifice the Vexing Devil. So that will be their mistake of doing that. So a lot of times, sometimes they will keep the Vex Devil because they have easy removal. But the thing about Vex Devil, it's one of those cards that can like, sure, your opponent has to sacrifice it, but then it deals 4 to them. But on top of that, if they don't, it's like you still have that added protection just in case. And he's a big beater, so it can help just push your opponent. And I already said enough. We already did all the creatures. We're gonna go straight to our instance. 3 lightning bolt. Not much to be said. Just dealing 3 damage to any target, just to clinch the game as quickly as possible, and that's what we're up to. 3 lightning strike. It's not any better, but it does the same as lightning bolt. Again, it's the same. It's the same like effect as lightning bolt, even though it costs you. But you're essentially playing 8 lightning bolt, even though it's costing you 1 more like mana. But again, we want to get to that win condition. We want to reach that win condition as quickly as possible. And regardless, sometimes like burning your opponent, if you can't be able to hit them, you can't be able to do any combat whatsoever, you might as well burn them fast. And do it before they decide to like close you out. And our final instant spell, and you'll notice all red. It's 2 colors, 1 red. This game is also your win condition. This is also potentially your win condition because even though it can be situational at times, but of course that's why you open up. You want to open. You really just need 2 if you have already a Daemogoth 10 on field. Depending on your land curve, depending how many lands you have in the field. But some people really underestimate this card because I like it because you don't have to tribute a monster, but you target a creature you control, and you can deal damage equal to its power to any target. So that could be your opponent or a creature. So even again, because I feel like a lot of times I'm not able to do combat, and I know from my past duels like outside this deck, like from the previous deck I played, I feel it wasn't working out. It's clearly outdated. It's been power crept, so it's like I need to find another way so I can kill my opponent a lot more faster, and I don't have to make too many changes. But I feel like this change helps because all you really need is 2 Soulfire, and for whatever reason, sure they have there's a chance to have Light Link, they're gaining life, but Soulfire ensures that like you can at least deal 22 to your opponent, but of course you got to pay, you got to be able to ramp for that you got to use those fetch lands, you got to use those basically those shock lands in order to get to your setup in order for you to actually play your boards, but when they do, this card makes them pay for it, especially if you have Daemogoth Titan on field. It makes them pay because like the more life they pay, it's like it makes it easier for you to close out the duel. And that's what that's enough for what I have to say about this card. But overall, just if you're not playing four, especially if you're playing four Daemogoth, I feel like you're really missing out. Like you're really not seeing how impactful this card is. Like again, it doesn't work for every deck or for too many decks, but with this build, you pretty much have to play four because you want to win as immediately and quickly as possible. So obviously we're going to follow up with just the sorcerer. We're going to go back to our lands. Thoughtseize, again, very important card. Makes a huge difference. Going first, play a black, whether it be like a swamp or a shockland that has a black. You tap your land, you're forced to pay 2 life. You choose a non-land from their hand and discard it, even though you got to pay 2 life. It's still worth it because it could if you manage to get rid of a starter card or a card that helps them set them up early game, you want to prevent them from doing that, so it gives you the upper hand. And obviously, we're going to go straight for our lands for Blackleaf Cliffs. Um, Again, this card makes a huge difference, really helps. You're always going to play black and red, so there's no reason not to play this card. We're playing 3 Blood Crypt. The reason why I'm playing 3 Blood Crypt is simply because, like, obviously you want to have a good combination of red and black. You always want to have red and black on your side, so you have pretty much access to every card in your main deck. Every creature that you cast, every spell, whether it be instant sorcery or it could be enchantment, whatever, planeswalker. Again, it helps you get the. Oh, it always makes sure that you always have a play. That's the whole purpose of playing Blood Crypt, and why you want to at least have 3. 4 is a little too much because I don't want to have to end up paying even too much life because you're already paying 2. So 3 should be enough because you already have other cards that cover for it. And of course, you still got to play those fetch lands, which we're playing. We have 10 of those. Bloodstained Mire. You pay 1 life. Sacrifice Bloodstained Mire. Obviously, you search for Swamp or Mountain, which also includes Blood Crypt, but it's all because it's also a swamp and a mountain. 3 Mountain, 4 Polluted Delta, 2 Scalding Tarn. I just personally prefer Blue Delta over Scalding Tarn. And 4 Swamp because since Daemogoth requires 4 black, we're gonna have 4 swamp just in case, because I feel like you want to have 4 swamp, especially if there's a card in your main deck that does cost you 4 black. So, and then straight to our side deck, Bantu's last. We were playing 1 Bantu's Last Reckoning because we want to destroy all creatures. Unfortunately, once this card does resolve, lands you control don't tap during your next untap step. Fortunate, but because of its cost, it's for what it's worth. You should, if you have to, you must. So, Crux of Fate. This is another tech that I'm playing. It's another like basically a board breaker, which lets you have the choice whether you want to destroy all dragon creatures or destroy all non-dragon creatures. So. But the best one here is Damnation, considering its cost. You don't need to have too many copies, but it destroys all creatures and they can't be regenerated. And for our other sideboard, 3 Engineered Explosives. In case your opponent's playing like any enchantments or you just want to remove tokens. This is simply just to remove tokens, honestly, you guys. Because I have a pure hatred towards tokens. I'll be real with you guys, but like, the fact that these tokens, they can just swarm the field, and you don't have to pay the card's cost to activate. The only thing you have to pay is the 2 mana as well as sacrifice explosives. Then you destroy all their tokens. So just in case you know they're playing a bunch of tokens, it always helps to see engineer explosives. So Shadowstorm because how popular artifacts are, and then the fact they require any colorless mana. They require it doesn't require any color whatsoever. You can pretty much use any color to play artifacts. It's a very important. Play Shadowstorm, and they can't be regenerated. So definitely a great side choice in case you have an issue with artifacts. So and some for those who aren't aware, it's the fact that they pretty much are colors and they require no colors in order to activate them. So you could pretty much cast them with colors, and they can be played on literally essentially every deck. So anybody who throws artifacts can be. It ensures that for those who are noobs, it ensures that for those that who have, I'm pretty sure, yeah, they can be played in any deck. And for those who have access to every artifact, this card will definitely be important and will play a huge part. So that way you don't have to worry too much about it. So obviously, speaking of artifacts, we're going to be using 3 Soul Guide Lantern on the side. I like the fact it brings consistency. On top of that, it also has a really my side deck is all around, really helps against certain matchups, and you want to be able to add more coverage. So with this card, when it enters the battlefield, you can exile target card from a graveyard. Um, on top of that, when this card's on the field, you have a choice to sacrifice Soul Guide Lantern, exile each opponent's graveyard, or on top of that, you can just pay 1 mana, sacrifice it, and or draw a card. So it helps bring consistency as well as just get rid of cards that could be a problem from graveyard, because who knows, they could either decide to revive them constantly, or they have more additional effects. So you want to be aware and just be able to eliminate the other side effects so that that those cards do not become a problem overwhelming you throughout the duel. So, and our last sideboard, you don't probably won't be seeing too much, but I do think it will be important just in case, depending on my matchup. Tectonic Edge, which happens to be a land. You can add 1 obviously colorless mana to your mana pool, but the important part is that you sacrifice Tectonic Edge, you can destroy target non-basic land. You can only activate this if your opponent controls 4 more lands. If you do, you sacrifice Tectonic Edge, you destroy that land. But I'm just getting, hopefully I did a nice review on my deck profile, you guys. This is just my card choices. This is just based on my play style. Again, my personal preference and how I play modern. Up to you guys. I'm not heavily relying on the meta, but this is something that I was looking forward to doing a deck profile for. Um, I can't really see myself constantly changing my deck. I just try to make it simple and see what cards I already have. And if I have to spend some money, I'm willing to. But you don't want to just spend more money and just waste a deck that you might not be able to be accommodated with, or something that you're not having fun with, or you're not fully adjusted to, and then or isn't really winning you that many duels. So there's a risk by constantly buying new decks. It's just to make sure that I have something in store, like something in disposal, and I could just pretty much just edit, adjust my deck, try to find new strategy, new ways, and revamp it so that I can realize from my past mistakes and be able to compete and be able to improve and show that what I'm capable of as a duelist in order to improvise and be able to implement new strategies, but with a deck that I'm passionate about, as well as a deck that I was willing to rely on and prove that it is capable of being able to go toe to toe regardless of the meta. And this is just me encouraging you guys, just play a deck that you're passionate about, you can enjoy, and just do the best you can to make it more viable. And that if it does manage to win you games and it's managing to help you get you victories and help you reach your win condition, be proud of that. And I managed to reach my win condition with this deck, so that's usually what does matter. But it's at the same time, don't let people discourage you to have you force you to feel like you have to change your deck. Um, because the whole point of playing card games, trading cards, especially like Magic, encourages innovation and people to come up with their own strategies and be able to put their effort, intelligence in trying something creative, which will catch people's interest and surprise. And because of course Magic is definitely a great piece of art that you can show. It's like going to a gallery, going to a show, and you want people to be impressed. You want people to be able to compliment your work, and that's the whole point of playing Magic's for you to actually build an audience, for you to help inspire people of your work, and for you to be proud of what you accomplished. But again, I feel like I said enough. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to check for more upcoming content in the future. Be sure to check your notifications, comment, like, subscribe. Thank you.